You need clearance for this floor, let alone this room. Stick to the perimeter. The voice, sharp and serrated, cuts through the quiet hum of the 40th floor boardroom. It belongs to Alastair Finch, Senior VP of Global Strategy, a man tailored in Italian wool and woven from pure, uncut arrogance. He doesn't look at Nia. He speaks at the space she occupies, his gaze fixed on the gargantuan video screen that will soon connect them to Shanghai. Nia doesn't flinch. Her hands, steady and sure in their worn gray gloves, pause their rhythmic circling on the glass partition she was polishing. For a fraction of a second, her reflection stares back at her. A woman in a plain blue uniform, her features indistinct against the backdrop of the sprawling city skyline. She has become an expert at this, the art of the non-reaction. A flinch is a confession of injury, and she has long since decided not to give men like Alastair Finch the satisfaction. She finishes the circle, her cloth whispering against the glass, and moves 2 feet to the left. The perimeter. She understands. Her existence here is conditional, a service rendered at the edges of power. The center of the room, with its 20-foot slab of polished obsidian that serves as a table, is sacred ground. It is where the future of Innovate Dynamics, a tech behemoth that prides itself on seeing the world differently, is about to be signed, sealed, and delivered. The air is thick with the metallic tang of anxiety. Junior analysts with Ivy League pedigrees and dark circles under their eyes scurry around the table, arranging folders and testing microphones. Their movements are jerky, their faces pale with the sleepless, cortisol-fueled terror of getting something wrong. Billions of dollars have a way of doing that to people. The merger with the Shanghai-based titan, Tianlong Industries, isn't just a deal. It's a tectonic shift, a reordering of their corporate universe. Nia continues her work, her cleaning cart a silent, rubber-wheeled island of calm in a sea of impending chaos. It is organized with a logician's precision, microfiber cloths arranged by color code, cleaning solutions labeled with crisp, black type, a small binder of maintenance schedules tucked into a side pocket. Her cart is her office, her kingdom. In it, everything has a place and a purpose. Out here in their world, she has neither. A younger executive trying to curry favor with Finch lets out a nervous chuckle. Finch is right. We can't have any distractions. Does she even speak English? The question hangs in the air, another casual slice of condescension. No one bothers to answer. To them, she is a function, not a person. She is the invisible force that makes smudges disappear, wastebaskets empty, and surfaces gleam. Whether she possesses a language, a history, or a thought is irrelevant to the task at hand. Would you endure this, to be discussed as if you were a piece of furniture, a malfunctioning appliance? Nia's focus remains on her task. She sprays a fine mist onto another glass panel, the scent of lavender and ammonia a brief, clean punctuation in the stale, recycled air. But she is not just cleaning. She is listening. She is observing. It is a habit forged from years of being overlooked. When people believe you aren't there, they reveal themselves completely. She sees the slight tremor in the hand of the lead counsel as he shuffles his papers. She notes the way Alastair Finch, for all his bluster, keeps touching his tie, a nervous tick betraying the pressure crushing him. She hears the hushed, frantic whispers about Clause 11b, the final point of contention. They believe they are in a sealed chamber of power, but the chamber has ears. She moves along the wall, her movements fluid and economical. She is a ghost in their machine, a silent witness to the frantic, last-minute machinations of men who believe they control the world. They see a woman with a mop and a bucket, a simple tool for a simple job. They have no idea that she sees them. She sees the cracks in their confidence, the flaws in their preparation, the blind spots in their worldview, and she sees the abyss they are about to step into. Finishing the last panel, she wheels her cart toward the service exit, her rubber-soled shoes making no sound on the imported marble floor. Her work here is done. As the door whispers shut behind her, she hears Alastair Finch's voice boom with false confidence. All right, people, places. Shanghai is on the line. The performance is about to begin. And Nia knows with a certainty that settles deep in her bones that they have forgotten to read the whole script. In the service corridor, the air is cool and smells faintly of bleach. Nia methodically restocks her cart, the quiet clicks and snaps of bottles and cloths a stark contrast to the boardroom's simmering panic. Her shift isn't over. Her territory is simply vast and varied. The executive floor is but one small, albeit glamorous, part of her domain. She is scheduled to clean the server rooms on the 20th floor next, a place of whirring fans and cold, clean silence. But the tension from upstairs follows her, a phantom vibration in the air. She can't shake the image of the frantic faces, the impending corporate implosion, or the Mandarin characters she saw scrawled on the draft contract. Her mind, a place they could never access or imagine, is turning those characters over and over. She holds a degree in international corporate law from a university that Alastair Finch wouldn't even recognize, earned in a life she had to pack away like old photographs. In that life, language was her instrument and the fine print was her battlefield. As she wheels her cart into the service elevator, the doors slide open to reveal the very junior analyst she'd seen earlier, the one whose hands were trembling. Ben. His face is ashen, and he's clutching a folder to his chest like a life raft. He doesn't see her, his eyes focused on some distant point of horror. The elevator doors close, encasing them in a small, silent box of brushed steel. He mutters to himself, a low, desperate stream of words. Clause 11b, profit sharing. What did Chen mean, an insult? They arrive at the 35th floor, where a secondary conference room is being used as an overflow workspace. The door is ajar and Nia can see the chaos inside. Ben rushes in. The draft contract she saw earlier is now spread across a side table, abandoned in the rush. As she passes the doorway to continue her route, her professional gaze catches something else, a coffee spill, dark and threatening, slowly creeping toward the corner of the document. Acting on instinct, she guides her cart to the doorway, steps inside, and deftly places a stack of absorbent cloths to block the spill's path. No one notices her. They are all huddled around a speakerphone, listening to a tirade from their legal team. Her eyes, however, are drawn back to the document, to the handwritten notes in the margin next to Clause 11b. Her mind translates them instantly. It's not a negotiation point, it's a warning. This term is dangerously ambiguous, requires clarification on derivative IP transfer. She freezes. It's worse than she thought. It's not just a mistranslation, it's a known ambiguity they chose to ignore, likely hoping to rush it through. Just as she processes this, the analyst, Ben, turns and finally sees her. He sees where she's standing, where she's looking. His panic curdles into suspicion. "What are you doing?" he asks, his voice sharp. He strides over and snatches the folder from the table, pulling it away as if she had contaminated it with her gaze. "These are sensitive documents. You shouldn't be in here." The microaggression lands, a familiar, dull thud in her chest. He doesn't see a person who just saved a vital document from ruin. He sees a threat, a contamination, a janitor who has breached the perimeter. She gives a slight, almost imperceptible nod and backs away, her face a mask of professional neutrality. As she leaves the room, her gaze sweeps past a bookshelf against the far wall. On it sits a row of identical leather-bound volumes. It's the Innovate Dynamics Onboarding and Policy Manual. Thick, heavy, and imposing, it is the company's Bible, the sacred text of rules and roles. A copy is given to every white-collar employee on their first day. She has never been given one. She has only ever been tasked with dusting them. The book is a perfect symbol of her status, an object she maintains but is not permitted to understand, a system she serves but is not invited to join. It is a locked door, heavy with the weight of all the things this company does not believe she needs to know. Would you tolerate this kind of casual, systemic erasure, where the very rules that govern your work are deemed beyond your station? The news travels through the building's nervous system, the hushed whispers in hallways, the frantic pings of messenger apps, the grim faces in the elevators. The deal is collapsing. It's no longer a risk, it's a reality, happening in slow, excruciating motion. From her vantage point in the service areas, Nia gets a filtered but potent version of the drama. She hears two VPs arguing in a stairwell, their voices echoing off the concrete. The translator just made it worse. He tried to re-explain it and dug the hole deeper. Chen is offline. The entire Tianlong delegation just walked out of their boardroom. They're calling it a breach of faith. Alistair is going to be eviscerated. The board is calling an emergency session. The company is in freefall. The single, misinterpreted clause has become a detonator, blowing a hole in the hull of their multi-billion-dollar vessel. The stock price, still stable on the public markets, is a dead man walking. When the news breaks, it will be a slaughter. Thousands of jobs, the company's decade-long expansion plan, the very legacy of its CEO, all of it is now tethered to a single broken sentence. Nia is cleaning a glass partition on the 20th floor, overlooking the main atrium. Below, she can see the frantic scurry of employees. The atmosphere is thick with a fear that has nothing to do with global strategy and everything to do with mortgage payments and tuition fees. The fallout from the 40th floor will not be contained there. It will cascade downwards, washing away livelihoods with brutal indifference. This is the moment she is locked in. The point of no return. She possesses the key, the linguistic, legal, and cultural context that could relock the deal, but she is standing on the wrong side of a chasm of class and credentials. To them, she is a ghost, a pair of hands. To speak up would be to break the fundamental rule of her existence here, her invisibility. It's a risk that goes beyond a simple reprimand. Exposing the incompetence of men like Alistair Finch is not a path to reward, it's a path to exile. They would never admit they were saved by the janitor. They would find a way to make her disappear. Yet, as she looks at the anxious faces below, a different feeling begins to surface, pushing through the years of learned self-preservation. It is a quiet, steady anger. Not the hot, explosive kind, but a cold, dense fury at the sheer waste of it all. The waste of talent, the waste of potential, the waste of dignity. The system that renders her invisible is the same system that allowed this catastrophic, arrogant blindness to fester. She finishes polishing the partition, her reflection looking back at her, clearer now. The woman in the uniform seems to be asking a silent question. What is the greater risk, to speak and be punished, or to stay silent and watch it all burn, knowing you held a bucket of water? The countdown is on. The company is bleeding out in a boardroom 40 floors above, and the only person who knows how to apply the tourniquet is standing here, holding a bottle of Windex. The choice has been made for her. She cannot be a bystander to a disaster she has the unique capacity to prevent. She makes her decision. It will be a small, targeted intervention. A whisper, not a shout. Going to Alistair Finch is professional suicide. He is the architect of the mess. He will never accept a blueprint for its solution from her. But the junior analyst, Ben, he is different. He is terrified, yes, but his panic comes from a place of diligence, not ego. He is young enough to still be surprised. She finds him in the small kitchenette on the 35th floor, frantically pouring sugar into a cup of coffee he clearly doesn't want. He's just a kid, really, trying to stay afloat in a hurricane. She approaches quietly, her cart parked discreetly by the door. Ben. He jumps, sloshing coffee onto his hand. He looks at her, his eyes wide with a mixture of confusion and irritation. What? Who? Oh, it's you. I know you're busy, she says, her voice even and calm, a stark contrast to the frantic energy radiating from him. But I saw the notes on the document, the ones in the margin. Ben's face darkens. You were told to stay away from that. I know. But what you're calling profit sharing, the word the translator is using, it's not the right legal term. The character he's using, Fenhong Chinese letter, implies distribution of declared profits. It's an accounting term. The context of that clause, especially with the notes about IP, requires a different concept. She pauses, letting the information settle. She is not just correcting a word, she is demonstrating a deeper level of understanding. Ben is still staring, his mind trying to reconcile the woman in the janitor's uniform with the precise, legalistic language she is using. The word you should be looking for, Nia continues, is probably closer to Kwani Chinese letter. It means rights and interests. It's a broader, more binding term that encompasses ownership. But what Mr. Chen from Tianlong said on the call, when he called your offer an insult, he used the term Yuanrang Chinese letter. Ben's eyes narrow slightly. He is listening now. Yuanrang, Nia says, her pronunciation clean and perfect, doesn't mean sharing. It means to transfer, to cede, to assign. Your translator didn't just miss a nuance. He reversed the entire meaning of the clause. You didn't offer to share future profits. You offered to sign over the entire technology, and he translated it as if you were doing them a favor. That's why he was insulted. She has laid it out with the precision of a surgeon, a clear diagnosis of the wound. For a moment, Ben is silent, the coffee cup trembling in his hand. He's seeing past the uniform. He's seeing competence, raw and undeniable. It is a small crack in the wall of his prejudice, but the wall is thick. He shakes his head, the ingrained instinct of hierarchy taking over. Look, thank you, but our translator is from Yale. He's a professional. I'm sure there's just a misunderstanding. He turns away, dismissing her. I have to get back. He walks out of the kitchenette, leaving Nia standing alone. It was a small win, immediately undermined by bias. She planted the seed of truth, but she knows it may not be enough. The system is designed to reject information that doesn't come from the approved channels. She offered the key, and he refused to take it. An hour passes. The building groans under the weight of the unfolding catastrophe. Alastair Finch has locked himself in his office. The CEO, Evelyn Reed, has arrived, her presence sweeping through the floor like a cold front. Nia continues her route, the quiet, steady rhythm of her work a form of meditation. She cleans the bathrooms, wipes down the railings, empties the trash. She is a picture of serene diligence while the world around her unravels. She is in a service corridor on the 38th floor, decanting a larger bottle of cleaning fluid into her smaller spray bottles, when she hears footsteps, quick and desperate. It's Ben. He looks even worse than before. His tie is loosened, his face is slick with sweat, and his eyes are wide with the frantic terror of a man who has seen the abyss and knows he's about to be pushed in. You, he pants, leaning against the wall. I need you to tell me again. Nia carefully tightens the cap on her spray bottle and turns to face him. Her expression is calm, patient. She does not say, I told you so, she simply waits. They played back the recording, he says, his voice ragged. The linguist consultant we have on retainer dialed in. He said exactly what you said. He used the same words, Juanrang, total assignment of rights. He said it was a level 1 catastrophic error. They fired the translator, but it's too late. Tianlong won't take our calls. He slides down the wall to sit on the floor, burying his face in his hands. Finch is going to fire my entire team. My boss is already clearing out his desk. I'm done. My career is over before it even started. This is the moment of connection. He is no longer an analyst from a top-tier school looking down on a janitor. He is a scared, vulnerable young man on the verge of losing everything. His credentials, his title, his supposed superiority, all of it has been rendered meaningless. He is drowning, and she is the only person who offered him a life raft. Nia walks to her cart and pulls out a small, sealed bottle of water. She opens it and hands it to him. He takes it, his hand shaking. What's your name? He asks, his voice muffled by his hands. Nia. Ben, he replies. My name is Ben. For the first time, they are two people in a hallway, not a janitor and an analyst, just Nia and Ben. What you said in the kitchen, he looks up at her, his eyes pleading. The legal distinction. The other word, the one we should have used. Can you explain it again? Slowly. She kneels, not to be subservient, but to meet him at his level, to close the physical distance between them. She starts to explain not just the words, but the deep cultural and legal context behind them. She talks about the concept of respect in Chinese business negotiations, the importance of precision, the way ambiguity is perceived not as a tactic, but as a sign of incompetence or deceit. He listens, rapt. He is no longer hearing a janitor. He is hearing an expert. The bond forming between them is fragile, forged in the heat of crisis, but it is real. He has crossed a line, seeking knowledge from a source his entire professional upbringing has taught him to ignore. In his desperation, he has stumbled upon the most valuable resource in the entire building, and she's been hiding in plain sight all along. It's not just a trap for you, Nia explains, her voice low and steady in the quiet corridor. It's a trap they probably expected you to see. In their world, a clause like that is a test. Ben sips the water, his mind racing to keep up. A test? What kind of test? A competence test, Nia says. In high-level negotiations like this, you sometimes leave a deliberate, subtle flaw in a late-stage draft. You do it to see if the other side is paying attention. If they catch it, it shows they're serious, they're diligent. It builds respect. You both have a quiet laugh about the near miss, fix it, and move on. Your trust in each other deepened. But if they don't catch it, she lets the implication hang in the air. Ben's face pales further. If they don't catch it, they look like fools, like amateurs who can't even read their own contract. Worse, Nia corrects him gently. It looks like you're either incompetent or you were trying to trick them and got caught. Either way, the trust is gone. The deal is dead. You failed the test. She lays out the full dimension of the trap. It's a brilliant, multi-layered piece of corporate statecraft, and Innovate Dynamics, in their arrogant rush, walked right into it. They were so focused on the numbers, on the speed of the acquisition, that they completely missed the human element, the intricate dance of culture, language, and law. Our legal team, Ben whispers, his voice filled with a horrified awe. Our multi-million-dollar legal team with lawyers from Harvard and Stanford, they all missed it. They read the English translation, signed off, and moved on. Because they only saw what they wanted to see, Nia says. They assumed the translation was perfect because they paid a lot of money for it. They assumed their counterparts thought just like them. They didn't account for the fact that the binding language of the contract was Mandarin. The English version was just a courtesy copy, a placemat. The full weight of the blunder settles on Ben. The cost is not just financial, it's a deep, institutional humiliation. They have been outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and publicly shamed on a global stage. The trap wasn't just in the words, it was in their own cultural blindness. So what do we do? Ben asks, looking at Nia as if she holds the answer to everything. Is there any way to fix this? Nia stands up, her expression thoughtful. Fixing the language is the easy part. Fixing the trust, that's harder. You can't just send an email with a correction. You have to demonstrate that you now understand the depth of your error. You have to show respect. She looks down the long, empty corridor. The choice is now framed in stark clarity. Comply with the hierarchy, stay silent, and let the company implode, taking Ben and countless others with it. Or resist, find a way to get this information to the one person who might listen, and risk the full, concentrated wrath of a system that does not tolerate being challenged from below. The cost of silence is certain ruin for others. The cost of speaking is probable ruin for herself. Armed with a clear understanding of the trap, Ben makes a choice. He's no longer just trying to save his own skin. He feels a moral obligation to get the truth to the right people. He sprints back to the executive floor, Nia's words echoing in his mind, and manages to get a minute with Alastair Finch. The result is a catastrophe. Finch, already under siege and looking for a scapegoat, explodes. The idea that a janitor, has a better grasp of his multi-billion-dollar deal than his entire team is not just insulting, it's an existential threat to his authority. He doesn't hear the solution, he only hears the accusation of his failure. Are you insane? Finch's voice, muffled but audible, carries from his office down the hall. You're basing your analysis on a conversation you had with the cleaning staff. Get out of my office. You're finished here, son. The door to Finch's office slams open. Ben stumbles out, his face white with shock. Finch points a trembling, furious finger not at Ben but down the hall toward the service elevator where Nia is quietly working. And you, he bellows, his voice ringing through the entire floor, causing heads to pop up over cubicle walls. You're done. I don't know what game you're playing, but it's over. You are a liability. He turns to his assistant. Call security. Have her escorted from the building. And revoke her access. Immediately, I want her gone. It's a public execution. Humiliating, swift, and brutal. 2 security guards, men Nia has shared coffee with in the break room, approach her. They look deeply uncomfortable, their eyes filled with apology, but their duty is clear. Nia, we're sorry, one of them says softly. We have to ask you to come with us. She doesn't argue. She doesn't protest. She simply nods, her dignity an invisible shield around her. She methodically places her tools back on her cart, her movements deliberate and calm. The entire floor is watching, a silent audience to her disgrace. Finch stands by his office door, arms crossed, a smug, vindictive look on his face. He has found his scapegoat. He has reasserted his dominance. As the guards lead her toward the elevator, she passes Ben. He is frozen, his face a mask of horror and guilt. He tried to do the right thing, and he has only made things infinitely worse. He has gotten the one person who could help them fired and humiliated. The elevator doors slide shut. The all-is-lost moment is here, absolute and suffocating. The door to the 40th floor, the door to any kind of solution, has been literally and metaphorically closed to her. She has been cast out, silenced, and erased. The system has pushed back, protecting its own incompetence by ejecting the truth. As the elevator descends, she makes a quiet vow. They think they've gotten rid of her. They think they've won. They have no idea what's coming. What would you sacrifice to make them listen now? The company is officially on fire. The news of the collapsed deal has leaked and the stock is in pre-market freefall. The board is in an uproar and the CEO, Evelyn Reed, is a woman besieged. She is pragmatic, ruthless, and intelligent, and she knows she is witnessing a failure of leadership that will cost them years of progress. She has just finished a call with the chairman of the board that involved a great deal of shouting. In the middle of this maelstrom, Ben does the bravest thing he has ever done in his short career. He knows he's already fired. He has nothing left to lose. He bypasses the chain of command, slips past the frantic assistants, and walks directly into Evelyn Reed's office. She looks up, her eyes like chips of ice. "You have 10 seconds before I have security throw you out a window." "The janitor," Ben says, his voice shaking but firm. "Her name is Nia. She knew. She told us hours ago before it all fell apart. She explained the entire legal and cultural context. Finch fired her because he was too arrogant to listen." Evelyn stares at him, her mind, a finely tuned processor of information, instantly assessing the variables, the catastrophic failure, the fired translator, the arrogant VP, and now this impossible, unbelievable story. In a crisis of this magnitude, convention is a luxury she cannot afford. The official channels have failed her. The experts have failed her. The system has failed. She explained the cultural context. Evelyn asks, her voice dangerously quiet. "She speaks fluent Mandarin, and she understands Chinese corporate law," Ben says. "She told me everything. We failed their competence test." Evelyn is silent for a long moment. She picks up her phone. "Find the janitor Alastair Finch just fired," she says to her head of security. "Find her and get her back in this building, now, and send Mr. Finch to the boardroom. Tell him to wait for me." The call goes out. A security car is dispatched. They find Nia at a bus stop a few blocks from the office tower, waiting patiently, a small bag with her personal effects from her locker at her feet. She is not surprised when the black town car pulls up. She is not surprised when the head of security gets out and says, with a tone of profound respect, "Miss Nia, the CEO would like to see you." The ride back to the office is silent and tense. She is no longer being escorted out as a pariah. She is being brought back in as a last resort. The walk through the lobby with the same guards who had just removed her is a surreal experience. People stare, whispering. The ghost is back from the dead. They take her straight to the 40th floor. The door to the main boardroom is open. Inside, Alastair Finch is pacing, his face a mess of fury and fear. At the head of the table sits Evelyn Reed, her expression unreadable. Nia walks in. The room falls silent. She is still in her uniform. She meets Evelyn's gaze, her own calm and steady. The threshold has been crossed. She has entered the proving ground. "Mr. Finch tells me you've been disrupting his negotiations," Evelyn Reed says, her voice cutting through the silence. Her eyes are fixed on Nia, searching, analyzing. Alastair Finch scoffs. "She's a janitor, Evelyn. This is insane. She was meddling with sensitive documents." Nia ignores him. She directs her words only to the CEO. "He is mistaken. I was not disrupting his negotiation. I was identifying the reason it failed." Evelyn gestures to the chair at the head of the table opposite her. "Explain." Nia walks to the table and stands, declining the offered seat. She is not here as a board member. She is here as an expert witness. In the corner, Ben watches, holding his breath. "The deal collapsed on Clause 11B, Nia begins, her voice clear and resonant, filling the cavernous room. "Your team's English translation read as a standard profit-sharing agreement for derivative technologies. The binding Mandarin contract, however, used the legal terms yuanrang. This does not mean to share. It means to cede, to transfer, to assign all ownership. You weren't offering a partnership. You were unwittingly offering a complete surrender of your most valuable intellectual property." Finch starts to speak, but Evelyn silences him with a single, sharp glance. Mr. Chen of Tianlong Industries, Nia continues, perceived this not as a generous offer, but as a profound insult. It implied you either hadn't done your due diligence and were incompetent, or that you were trying to pass off a corporate surrender as a partnership and were therefore deceitful. He responded by calling your offer a test of competence, which you failed. This is a common, though high-stakes, tactic in Chinese corporate law, similar to the poison pill provision in Western M&A, but used to gauge a partner's seriousness. She delivers the analysis with flawless, dispassionate precision. It is not an opinion, it is a legal and cultural fact. The room is stunned into silence. Evelyn gestures to the large screen. Our video link to Shanghai is still active. They aren't taking our calls, but they are listening. On the screen, the main Tianlong boardroom is visible, empty except for one man, Mr. Chen, sitting alone at his table watching. Evelyn looks at Nia. "Can you fix this?" "I can explain it," Nia replies. She turns to the screen and bows her head slightly, a traditional sign of respect. Then she begins to speak in fluent, formal Mandarin. She does not begin with an apology for the error, but with an apology for the insult. She acknowledges their own institutional failure, their lack of cultural diligence, and takes full responsibility. She then calmly and respectfully dissects the linguistic and legal nuances of the clause, just as she had for Ben, but this time with the formal grace of a diplomat. She cites a specific legal precedent from a 2018 case in the Shanghai High People's Court to illustrate her point. On the screen, Mr. Chen, who had been sitting stone-faced, leans forward. He is intrigued. He responds with a complex legal question in Mandarin, a clear test of her depth of knowledge. Nia answers it without hesitation flawlessly. A long silence follows. Then Mr. Chen speaks, his voice now devoid of its earlier anger, replaced by a tone of deep, undisguised respect. His words appear as a translation on the screen for the stunned executives. "Madam, you speak not like a translator but like a professor of law from Peking University. Tell me, who are you?" The power in the room has completely and irrevocably shifted. Alastair Finch has shrunk in his chair, his face pale. All eyes are on Nia, the janitor in the blue uniform, who now commands the attention of two global corporations. The reversal is complete. Did you feel that shift? Goosebumps rise as the truth, spoken in a language they couldn't understand, has just saved them all. In the wake of Nia's intervention, the atmosphere transforms. The hostility from Shanghai evaporates, replaced by a cautious but genuine willingness to re-engage. Mr. Chen agrees to reconvene the negotiating teams on one condition, that Nia is present as a consultant. The immediate fallout within Innovate Dynamics is swift. Alastair Finch is placed on administrative leave, a corporate euphemism for a slow walk to the guillotine. Ben, the junior analyst who risked everything, is given a quiet nod of approval from Evelyn Reed that feels like a medal of honor. After the video call ends, Evelyn turns to Nia. The boardroom is empty now, save for the two of them. The remnants of the crisis, scattered papers, half-empty coffee cups litter the table. "I have never in my career witnessed anything like that," Evelyn says, her voice a mixture of awe and deep, soul-shaking embarrassment. "We have an opening for a vice president of international strategy. The position is yours. Name your salary." It is the ultimate validation, the corner office, the title, the money. A complete reversal of her status. Nia looks at the CEO, a woman accustomed to solving problems by writing checks and creating titles, and she gives the answer that will change everything. "Thank you, Miss Reed, but I must respectfully decline." Evelyn is taken aback. "Decline? I'm offering you a seat at this table." "I don't want a seat at this table," Nia says, her voice firm but without a trace of malice. "I want to fix the reason I was never allowed near this table in the first place. You don't have a personnel problem, you have a systemic one." She gestures around the opulent boardroom. Today's crisis wasn't caused by a bad translator. It was caused by a corporate culture that is fundamentally blind. You have hundreds, maybe thousands, of employees with skills you know nothing about. You have janitors with law degrees, cafeteria workers who are certified accountants, security guards who speak multiple languages. They are your most valuable, untapped resource, and you have rendered them invisible. You almost lost this company because you believe a person's value is defined by their job title. She is no longer asking for permission. She is making a diagnosis and prescribing a cure. A new title for me doesn't fix that blindness, she continues. It's a patch, not a solution. It makes for a nice story, but tomorrow another crisis will happen, and the solution to that crisis might be working in your mailroom and you'll never even know it. You don't need a new VP. You need a new way of seeing. Evelyn Reid, a titan of industry who has never been spoken to this way, is utterly silent. She is listening, truly listening for the first time. The choice Nia presents is one of soft justice. It is not about revenge on Finch or a reward for herself. It is about reform. What does real justice look like here? It is the quiet, revolutionary act of demanding not a promotion but a new policy. What do you propose? Evelyn finally asks, her voice subdued. Nia steps forward, her plan fully formed. She is no longer just reacting, she is building. I propose the creation of the Innovate Dynamics Hidden Talents Initiative, she says, giving it a formal name. It will be a new, mandatory module in our internal HR system. Every single employee from this office to the loading docks will have the opportunity to self-report and get verified for their secondary skills. She outlines the specifics with the clarity of a seasoned project manager. First, the database. It won't just be a list. It will be a searchable, credential-verified registry. If an employee claims to speak fluent Mandarin, they will be tested and certified by an independent third party, paid for by the company. If they have a degree in a field unrelated to their current job, they upload their transcript. Certifications, patents, specialized training, it all goes in. Second, the policy change. This is the most important part. Before any manager is authorized to hire an external consultant, contractor, or new employee for a specialized skill, they will be required to search the hidden talents database first. The system will log the search. Internal talent gets the right of first refusal. We have to prioritize the people we already have. Third, enforcement. The program will be managed by a new internal committee, reporting directly to your office to ensure it's being used and not just bypassed. And I want to lead that committee. Not as a VP, but as the program director. I will build it, launch it, and run it. She has presented a complete, actionable plan. It is not a vague suggestion. It is a blueprint for systemic change. It names the policy, outlines the process, and establishes who will enforce it. It directly addresses the institutional blindness that nearly destroyed them and creates a permanent mechanism to prevent it from happening again. Evelyn Reid walks to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking out over the city. She sees not just a skyline of glass and steel, but a city of people, each with a life and a story and a set of skills she couldn't possibly guess. Her company, she realizes, is a microcosm of that city. An ecosystem of hidden potential. She turns back to Nia. Build it, she says. I'll give you the budget, the team, and the full authority of my office. Make it happen. The change has begun. The path is open. The quietest voice in the building has just been given the authority to rewrite the rulebook. Would this change be enough in your workplace? It's a profound shift, from fighting the system to being invited to rebuild it from the inside out. Weeks later, Nia is not in a corner office on the 40th floor. She has chosen a small, functional workspace on the 15th floor, with glass walls that look out not on the skyline, but on the other offices and walkways. She wanted to be in the center of the building, visible and accessible. Her desk is covered in wireframe diagrams, user flow charts, and policy drafts. She is in her element, not as a lawyer or a janitor, but as an architect of systems. The work is complex and demanding, requiring her to interface with HR, IT, and legal, but it invigorates her. This is the work she was meant to do. The door slides open and Ben walks in, holding 2 cups of coffee. He places one on her desk. He's no longer a junior analyst. He was the first person Nia requested for her new team. They're calling it the Nia protocol in the IT department, he says with a smile. They're actually excited. They said it's the most meaningful project they've worked on in years. Nia takes a sip of the coffee. Good. It needs to be their system, not just my idea. There is a new ease between them, a friendship born from shared crisis and mutual respect. He is her first convert, the first person who crossed the divide to listen. "You know," Ben says, leaning against the doorframe, "the first time I saw you in that boardroom, I didn't really see you at all. You were just part of the background." "Most people don't," Nia replies without bitterness. "It's a simple statement of fact. It's easier that way." "I don't think so," he says. "I think we made it harder on ourselves. We chose not to see." This is the moment of quiet closure, of personal healing. Her dignity was never truly lost. She held it intact through every insult. But here, in this small office, building a system to ensure others are seen, it is being restored and amplified. The healing isn't coming from a public apology from Finch or a grand, public ceremony. It's coming from the quiet, constructive work of creation. It's in the gentle conversation with an ally, the shared cup of coffee, the mutual acknowledgement of a lesson learned, whose voice helped you heal when no one clapped. She is reclaiming her identity, not by stepping into a pre-made power structure, but by building a new one from the ground up. She is defining herself not by the title they might have given her, but by the work she has chosen to do. She smiles at Ben, a genuine, unguarded smile. "Well," she says, turning back to her screen, "let's give them a new pair of eyes." The day the Hidden Talents Initiative launches, there is a company-wide town hall. The auditorium is packed. Evelyn Reed takes the stage, the energy in the room a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Everyone knows the story by now. The collapsed deal, the fired VP, the janitor who saved the day. They are expecting a spectacle, a grand cinematic moment where Nia is brought on stage and given a medal. Evelyn, however, does something far more powerful. 3 months ago, she begins, her voice steady and clear, this company faced a catastrophic failure. We failed because we believed talent only comes with certain titles, from certain schools, and sits in certain offices. We failed because we were arrogant. We were saved, not by our executive team, but by an employee who we had made invisible, but who refused to be silent. She pauses, letting the weight of the confession settle. "Many of you are expecting me to bring that employee up here. But that would be another failure. It would turn a lesson about the system into a story about one individual. And the lesson is this: the hero of this story is not one person. It's the potential that exists in every person in this company." She clicks a remote, and the large screen behind her displays the sleek, intuitive interface of the new Hidden Talents portal. "This initiative," Evelyn continues, "was designed and is being led by Nia from our facilities team, who now directs our new Office of Internal Mobility. She did not ask for a promotion. She demanded a revolution in how we value our people. She has built the tool that will force us all to see the talent that is already here." The recognition is specific, powerful, and focused entirely on Nia's competence and vision. It avoids any hint of a savior narrative. It's not Nia, the janitor, who saved us. It's Nia, the architect, who is fixing our broken system. She shares the credit, not by naming others, but by framing the initiative as a tool for everyone. From her seat in the third row, Nia watches. She did not want to be on the stage. Her place is here, among the employees the system is for. As Evelyn speaks, she sees a ripple of understanding move through the crowd. She sees programmers nodding, cafeteria workers whispering to each other, security guards looking at the screen with genuine interest. At the end of the presentation, Evelyn holds up a single, thick, leather-bound book. It's the old policy manual. "This represents the old way," she says. "It put people into boxes. We are retiring it today." The applause that follows is not for one person. It is for an idea. It is the sound of a door opening for everyone. 6 months later, Nia stands at the front of a bright, modern training room, leading an onboarding session for a new cohort of Innovate Dynamics employees. The group is diverse. Young coders fresh out of university, mid-career marketers, and new members of the facilities and catering staff. "Welcome to Innovate Dynamics," she says, her voice warm and confident. "In your welcome packet, you'll find your ID badge, your benefits information, and a tablet. I want you to turn on the tablet." On a bookshelf behind her, displayed in a simple glass case like a historical artifact, sits a single copy of the old, leather-bound onboarding and policy manual. It is the same book she once dusted but was never allowed to read. Now, it is a museum piece, a relic of a bygone era, a silent testament to the change that has occurred. On their tablets, the new hires see the login screen for the company's internal network. The first module they are required to complete is their hidden talents profile. Your job title is what you do for us, Nia explains, walking among the tables. Your profile on this portal is about who you are. We want to know all of it. If you're a classically trained pianist, we want to know. If you're a certified welder, if you speak fluent Swahili, if you have a degree in astrophysics, we want to know. Here, your talent is your primary credential. Your job is just your first assignment. A young man in a catering uniform raises his hand. So if I put down that I have a certification in logistics management, what happens? What happens, Nia replies with a smile, is that when a project manager in our supply chain division needs someone for a 3-month assignment, their first search will be in this database. Your profile will pop up. You'll get a chance to use a skill we otherwise never would have known you had. The symbol has completed its transformation. The heavy, rigid book that represented a locked system of exclusion has been replaced by a fluid, dynamic digital portal that she designed for inclusion. It is no longer a book of rules to be obeyed, but a library of potential to be explored. It has gone from a weapon of the hierarchy to a tool of the people. The object that once signified her otherness is now the echo of her legacy. Did the object's meaning change for you too? The final scene. It is a Tuesday afternoon, nearly a year after the deal with Tianlong Industries was successfully closed. In a sleek, minimalist office on the 40th floor, the office that once belonged to Alastair Finch, a new vice president is working. She needs an expert on agricultural law in Nigeria for a potential new market expansion. Following procedure, she logs into the Hidden Talents portal. She types law and Nigeria into the search fields. One profile appears. It belongs to a man named David, who works in the company's main shipping and receiving department. His profile shows he holds a Master of Laws degree from the University of Lagos, specializing in international trade and agricultural policy. The VP does not hesitate. She does not question the source. The system is the system. She clicks a button to send a formal, respectful request for a 1-hour internal consultation, automatically CCing David's direct supervisor and offering to compensate the department for his time. In the loading dock, David's phone buzzes. He looks at the request, a slow, wide smile spreading across his face. The system works. Nia is in her own office looking out her window. She is not watching the executives on the top floor. She is watching the steady flow of people in and out of the building's main entrance. Caterers, coders, security guards, marketers, mailroom clerks. To the outside world, they are just employees, but she sees them differently. She sees a library of living potential, a universe of hidden skills, finally visible, finally valued. She didn't take the corner office. She didn't need it. She had done something far more important. She hadn't just climbed the ladder. She had redesigned the building. There is a quiet stillness in her posture, a profound sense of peace. The room has changed because she was in it. Her legacy is not in a title on a door, but in the connections now being made, the potential now being unlocked in every corner of the company. What unseen talent is waiting in the rooms you walk through every day?